Hey Aileen, thank you so much for connecting with me and purchasing a reading from me, working with me instead of all the different thousands of tarot readers in the world. You are Korean. That is a very special thing for me. I mean, the Korean country itself isn't very open towards these types of things, but I find through my channel, even though it's not a big channel, I don't have that big of an audience, there are certain Korean people that are drawn to my channel, and most often they're Arcturian and they're my soul family. Like, there's a very special cultural thing embedded. So it would make sense that you resonate with what I say. So let me first get into your reading. You didn't ask me any specific question, which I do think that the best readings come from giving it space to give you whatever guidance that comes up. Let me just make sure you didn't ask me any questions. Yeah, no, you didn't ask me anything. Okay, so what's really interesting right now is that you have in your main energies, you have the Queen of Cups and the Empress, which really is this divine feminine energy, and part of your life's purpose is to embody this divine feminine energy, which is a very oppositional force compared to the patriarchal society that we've been living through, whether it's like taking action, planning, logical comprehension, rationality. And you're the one who's here to embody the next level of successful living and being able to attract all that you need without necessarily planning for it, by surrendering to the universe and becoming one with the universe, rather than just with your conscious mind, integrating your subconscious mind and representing what life could look like if you were just surrendered to the universe. So this is one thing that you have to do. But I see as a foundation you're struggling with this because you've been conditioned, especially, you know, I know culturally as a Korean, you are forced to do this kind of masculine approach to everything in life. You have to plan everything, you have to be in competition, everyone's always comparing you to somebody. Like, so I see you kind of struggling, even though you know this is what you have to do and you have to put your frequency first. You are having a challenge accepting the fact that you could just drop everything that you're carrying and just go with a light-hearted, you know, kind of approach to life. And what I want to highlight here is you have to always prioritize your state of being and the way of your feeling. This is a Queen of Cups. Acknowledging the richness of your feelings and your emotions and the importance of that before anything, before planning anything, before executing anything. Like, the fact that you might think that you have to use your mind in order to take action and kind of know how to get to where you want to, but actually when you prioritize your state of being, as in your frequency, like, so when you need to rest, you just put that first. When you need to hang out with friends, you put that first before anything else. And what happens as a result is that your frequency gets so heightened that the humanly things that you would normally do takes fraction of the time that you would plan for it to take, because you're so high frequency that things just come into synchronicity. So when you put yourself first and your desires first without any guilt, because there's a string of guilt that follows you whenever you do something and you're enjoying it too much. You're kind of like, oh my god, I'm not stressed out with life, I must be doing something wrong. That you have to fall away from. But it does look like this is coming to an end, because this is the Death card and this is the transformation of a past paradigm. And I see you also as a Queen of Pentacles. This is a crowning position, and this is, you literally have the most divine feminine cards in the whole deck. This is like the goddess. This is the goddess paradigm, where if the male aspect was the sun, the female aspect is the black hole. Without the black hole, the universe wouldn't exist. It's actually more powerful, if not just as powerful, if not more powerful than the sun, because the sun alone could not possibly do what it's doing without the black hole, if you look at it from a macrocosmic perspective. And you're really learning to exemplify what it means to be this divine feminine paradigm. What I would recommend for you is to get this Goddess Guidance Oracle deck from Doreen Virtue. Don't care about what Doreen Virtue really stands for, but this is, you have to get acquainted with the divine feminine paradigm. Another thing that I would recommend is the Rumi Oracle deck. So these are Oracle cards. Like, I don't necessarily recommend this to people, but I feel guided to recommend it to you. And Oracle cards are not like tarot cards, because it's much user friendlier, and it comes with a guidance book that will tell you after you pick the cards what it means, and that's all you need to do. In the recent past, you have the Page of Pentacles, which means to me you either got a new job or some sort of a new life purpose, but most likely this is a new job or new way of making a income, and you feel kind of like a newbie at this. You feel kind of, you're fresh at it, like this is brand new. So when you're going through this new paradigm, you constantly kind of compare to the past and compare, what have I done similarly in the past, that, and how do I navigate through it according to my experience. I really need you to drop that kind of comparison, because this is nothing like anything you've done in the past. So you cannot compare it, and you cannot project your past experiences on this. This is a brand new thing. You're coming at it from a brand new frequency, and you're coming at it from a brand new alignment to your higher self. This is nothing to do with your past experiences. So stop trying to compare what happened in the past with what is going on right now. So I see you struggling with these kinds of thoughts, like thinking that you might not be good enough for whatever this is about to occur, or, you know, even though the reality of you is like literally these goddess cards, like this divine authority of the feminine principles, I see you are kind of in a disbelief about how capable you are, and also trying to fight off this kind of addiction to stress, because there is this, like, you feel like there's a perpetual cycle of what used to happen in the past and how it's going to affect you. But I need you to understand that every moment is a new parallel universe. And once you comprehend that on a logical level, you know, in the subconscious mind, you can program this using subliminals or whatever other modalities you use, like meditation. For subliminals, I would recommend you to use, I always recommend Dr. Virtual 7. You can go for Royal Subliminals, but just make sure that it's a very spiritually aligned subliminal. If you're not sure what a subliminal is, these are audio tracks with a subliminal message, and you have to really gauge the frequency, because you're not able to really see what's underneath the song. So you have to know how to vibe the frequency of the song, and also make sure that the creator, you trust the creator of the subliminals. You can find them on YouTube, and they work really well for people who are high frequency. For normal people with a lot of doubt in their energy field, it's not going to work. But if you're a high frequency individual and you understand the power of empowerment and understand the level of your subconscious mind, then this is very helpful for you. In the environment, you have the Queen of Wands, so you literally have 3 queens and an empress. This is all the queens you could possibly get, other than the Queen of Swords, but that also means that you're very much emotionally open, you're emotionally attached to things. But I have to warn you, you are emotionally intelligent to a next level, but make sure that you don't confuse emotional awareness with like sentimentality. Sentimentality is attaching your emotions on the past patterns and kind of like reiterating your past emotions over and over again, whereas just emotional intelligence is only dealing with the current emotions. So I want you to let go of past emotions and these past kind of accumulations of emotions, and stop attaching yourself to them. You are not that anymore. And then you have this fear, like you're so bound to something, like you have this, like right now in your current position, I mean, based on your reality and based on your frequency and who you are, you think of yourself as much less. Like you're under-delivering yourself to me with these cards coming up as your self position. You're not giving yourself enough credit, and you're not, you're misperceiving the situations that you're in, thinking that there's going to be more problems, that there's going to be more patterns that are not positive. And so I really need you to drop away from that, because I see you here like really anxious about what's going on, and I really need you to drop this mindset, because you're the only one in your head doing this, and the rest of the universal energy that's actually surrounding you is extremely positive. So I need you to really take a reflection inside of yourself. For this month, I would really recommend that you deprioritize all the interactive things that go on in your personal life, unless it really aligns with you, like whether that's romance or coworkers or friends. I need you to deprioritize those and really tune into your own mind and your thoughts, because there's a lot of this going on that you need to learn to really deprogram, because it's really disresonant with what's happening for you in this universe. There's a lot of good things occurring, and it's all positive, it's all, you know, all open. Like as long as you're open, you'll be receiving this, because feminine is all about receiving. So this also comes from your disresonance to the masculine, like patriarchal paradigm. So just reflect on that and understand that this is coming to an end. I would say by the end of this month, it's coming to an end. There's all of this kind of stress, but just know that you're not addicted to anything anymore. You're not, there's not any paradigms that are chasing you around. There's nothing that you need to overcome in terms of past patterns, because when you get to a certain frequency of consciousness, there no longer is a karma. Like you vibrate above the level of karma, which is still at a frequency that is lower than certain levels of consciousness. So I need you to understand that your consciousness is going to a place like there's levels to your mind. And so when you intend to connect to the higher levels of your mind, which inside biological terms are equivalent to the theta brain level and delta brain level, then there is no longer this kind of pattern that you have to deal with. So what you need to learn to do is constantly invoke your higher states of mind, which is the theta level, which is the alpha level, which is the delta level, instead of constantly feeling like you need to deal with all of this, because you can just transcend it. Now, as this order, there is a level of yourself that is not associated with any attachments and that is broken free of any kind of conflict. This is the Rebel card. And this, as long as you are tapped into this frequency once in a while, this actually benefits the entire collective. And this is one of your biggest life's mission, is no matter what it translates into human language, like, oh, I'm an artist, I'm a writer, I'm a designer, I make this, I make that. That's just a reflection of what you do on an energetic level, which truly just means that you're in alignment with the higher levels of your mind, and that's your main service to the world. You don't have to worry about how that translates into physical reality, because that'll just take care of itself. Okay, so that's that. Is there anything else? Now, I see you in your environment, you have a role model that is of this divine feminine paradigm that is able to really attract what they need and really is open to receiving what they want based on their kind of desires and not feeling guilty about what they even desire, you know? So that's one thing that I'm called to highlight. Oh, that's the thing that I really need to recommend. There is a meditation on YouTube. There is a body of texts, but start out with the meditation, and it's called Awareness Description U, like the letter U. Awareness Description U by Michael Langford. And that is the meditation that I would recommend you to practice every single day until you got this this card, nothingness, consciousness, this level of consciousness. Until you get acquainted with that and you learn to really deprogram yourself from all these little energies that think that life is full of conflicts and that you have to do all of these things, that journeys are supposed to be burdensome. It's supposed to be joyful. And don't listen to anybody that tells you that like things are tough or that you have to be ready for all these difficulties. Like, no, you can just transcend those. Let's see what angels want to come up for you. I see a lot of angels are in your field, so you need to make the conscious effort to invite them to communicate more deeply. So they're literally like outside of your auric field, like knocking on your door all the time, being like, hey, listen to me, let's interact, these angels. And it's up to you to open up to them, because like there's a lot of angels around you and they want to work with you and they want to help you. You have to receive their help. If you need help kind of getting acquainted with how to work with angels, I would recommend Doreen Virtue's book, Angels of Abundance. So when I recommend certain books, it's different for every client. And for you, I would recommend that book. And even though Doreen Virtue is a very controversial figure, her previous works are extremely valuable. So I recommend that. You can get an ebook from Amazon or a hard copy, but I recommend that book. So there's that intention to open up to the angels and working with the angels. And I also get strongly that, like, do you know how I recommended a couple of oracle decks before? I feel like oracle cards are going to be a very much help to your journey and your career, even if it's gonna have nothing to do with oracle cards. It's just gonna help you. Like, this is one of the divine methods of working with energy. So I would recommend that. And I also see here that your life's purpose is going to unfold in a way that, like, you're going to be able to channel your authenticity through some sort of passion. So what are you really passionate about? I want you to write it down, even if it makes no sense, and even if it's like embarrassingly not in alignment with what you're currently doing. I want you to really explore what you're interested in, what you're capable of, like, what would you be so passionate about to do if you are already in the fifth dimension and nobody had to work for money but only for passion. What would be your ideal career? Or another way to put this is, if money were not an issue to your life, what would you do for fun as work? That's something that I want you to explore. But here I have this career transition card, so I definitely saw that you had some sort of a career like beginning or something like that in the or the way that you make money, or maybe you don't even realize that what you're doing currently is somehow adding up to your bigger life's mission. But here I have the career transition card. So definitely you're going to be, either you have recently experienced a career transition or you're going to be very soon. And in order to really maximize this, I want you to constantly reevaluate the physical space that you're in to be able to make sure that it's in alignment with you. And that could sometimes mean that you clear out your closet, clear out your vanity space, to make sure none of the items are holding on to previous frequency, that that just the way you spend your energy is not spent in a way that is not in alignment with your higher self. Like the way you spend money, the way you eat. Just reflect on how all of those actions are taking place and what intentions are behind it, and make sure that, you know, it's in harmony with your higher self. So I see here that you are definitely having this leadership role in the future. Whatever this career is going to be a leadership role to help all the children of this current planet to kind of live and thrive on this earth. And this is going to be one of your biggest life's mission, is to help these children and be a leader to these children. But because these divine unfolding is happening, you have to realize that it's not always about you when things are divinely aligned. Like if you are wanting to manifest something within a certain time period, it's not just about you, but it's also about if the world is ready for it, or if the rest of the component is ready for it. Maybe you have these collaborative partners of your project that are yet going through their spiritual awakening. You never know. So you need to definitely cultivate patience, and patience is something that you can just naturally tap into when you ponder upon the infinite nature of reality and time. So this will give you an immense sense of peace, and when you have infinite patience, then things automatically manifest instantaneously. And actually this time frame right now that you're living is the last piece of time that you're going to be able to experience in linear time or waiting for something. When we go switch into full-on fifth dimension, you're never going to be able to experience this again, where you have to wait for what you want. So you might as well enjoy it while it lasts. That's what I want to tell you. Okay. So what I see here with you right now is that your energy as being like, the conscious part of you, I see, like, you know how you have these anxious parts of you that feel like, oh, things are burdensome, that it's almost like you're projecting a burden that's on top of you even if there's no burden. And I see, you know, how you are stressing about how you know how stressful the journey is going to be when it's not actually going to be stressful. You're projecting this kind of level of stress. I'm telling you right now, you're destined to get somewhere, and regardless of if you stress about it or not, regardless of if you feel like you have a burden or not, you're getting at the same place at the same time. So you either have a choice to get there by stressing while stressing, or you can get there while not stressing. It's up to you. You're actually going to end up at the same place anyway. So that's one thing. And there's a part of you that feels like you're completely lost. Like you can't see what's ahead of you. Like you feel like you're in the middle of a desert. Like you have no idea where you're going, if you're going the right way. But I'm telling you, you're going the right way. What you have here in the middle is the compass card, which on one level talks about your inner guidance that's been, even if it seems like you're not going anywhere and it seems ambiguous, what's highlighted is that, yeah, you know exactly where you're going. Do you know what the chances are that these are right next to each other? It's like you think you're lost, but actually no, the higher levels of you are completely in alignment with this compass. And the way in which you can best align with this internal compass is when you follow your bliss. And you remember when I told you to prioritize your frequency over anything or any task or any project is prioritizing how you feel and what you want to do at this moment. If it allows, then just go do what you want to do at the moment. That'll put you in the highest state of bliss, and that's actually how you can align to the shortcut of your higher self, because the alignment to your higher self feels like bliss. Whenever you're not in bliss, whenever you're feeling low frequency emotions, that means you're not aligned. So as long as you're making choices that align the highest to your highest level of joy, even if it makes no sense to your conscious mind why you're going to do those, the bliss itself is an excuse enough to do it. So even if, like, for example, this might be a strange example, but if you really have this longing to go on a solo trip to an island and you don't even know if it's going to be coming from a place of, like, if you have enough money to take that trip right now, if the probability is making you extremely blissful, then I would say take that. But you have to be very careful in calculating, is there so much fear for me to trust my finances to be able to go on this trip? If the amount of fear is greater than the bliss, then you need to acknowledge that and not go. So you have to really calibrate your emotions, and that's how you get aligned. You can't lie to yourself and be like, oh, I don't have any fear, I just feel the bliss, so I'm gonna make the decision. Some people will do that because they read somewhere in the law of attraction that, oh, if you go and spend all this money to buy luxurious things, you'll get it. No, that only happens to people who don't have that level of fear. But if you have fear, then it's like a counterproductive thing because the fear was greater than the bliss. So if you're at a level where you can just tune into the bliss, that's when you should make it. And at the last card, you have the Gentle Gardener, which is similar to what I was saying about you having this patience, because right now you're at these stages, like a very gentle stage where all of your dreams are like incubating in this egg. So if you were just really impatient to look at the results, it would be like cracking this egg before it hatches. So I need you to understand, like, these eggs are there and they're sure to hatch. So please don't get a very don't try to like hurry up and see what's happening. Just trust that it's unfolding. You also have this wishing well card, which talks about, you know, planting your wishes and desires into this wishing well and knowing that it's going to spring forth, and knowing that this journey while you get it is like the whole point, because it's like getting to the climax of the movie. You know, it's a very valuable point where like I said, in fifth dimension, you won't even be able to tune into this kind of waiting energy. So enjoy it while it lasts. Okay, so this was half of your reading. I'm going to let this rest, and I'm going to do the rest of your reading later on in the day. I'm probably going to do that because I don't like to do a full hour in one sitting. Hello, Eileen. So this is the second part of your reading. I'm going to get straight into this reading. Just needed some time to get into this new energy. So You never asked me about your Starseed roots, which a lot of people do, and it's not usually something that I want to talk about, but definitely big part of your soul's memory is in Arcturus, because that's the energy that comes through. And I actually find that the people who find my channel or my material who are also Korean, they have some sort of link to that star system. And yeah. A really big message that I get here has to do with your throat chakra as well as your third eye chakra. So I see you having a lot of clairsentient and clairvoyant abilities that maybe you're not tapping into because you have a fixed idea on how it should manifest. And this is a problem that I see with a lot of people, is because they're basing their extrasensory perception on other people, or especially in the past, these psychic mediums who are not necessarily based in this new earth paradigm. They kind of ignore the more subtle manifestations of their psychic abilities. So one thing that I want to recommend for you to do is get acquainted with your clairsentience, which is when you know, like, things just by feeling it, the way that you can vibe an object or a person, or just this gut feeling that you have, or like an intuition that pulls you towards something. That's all a very advanced forms of psychic abilities, as well as telepathy is a huge one. I see that you have a very strong potential for telepathy, and that's something that you want to look into, is how you could better strengthen that. And there's various different resources that you can look into. One that comes to mind currently is Telepathy by Alice Bailey. It's a very high frequency text that if you have this book, it's more so the frequency of the objects. If you could read it, that's great. Most of the time it'll give people a headache because the material is so high frequency. And definitely see a need for you to really learn how to speak up about your existence, about your knowledge. You've been suppressed on your truth for a very long time, and that's something that is really invoking a sensation in me while I'm reading for you. Is on one level, you had to do that because you had to fit into this structure of society and survive, and it's not your fault that you had to look for other people's approval or acceptance, because even if you look at humankind as an evolutionary species, they had to form a tribe unless they would have got extinct from physically stronger species of animals. But what gave us the strength to persist this far is our ability to form a tribe and work together and be smart. And so your tendency to want to find belonging is not to be scolded upon by yourself, because it got you this far. And even until now, for you to have a credible ability to now become open about what you know and how you feel, you had to establish a proper structure in society as a manifestation of a proper citizen. Like, if you didn't listen to societal standards until now, you wouldn't have established this outer shell that people could now trust. Like, for example, going to school, finishing school in certain subjects, and excelling in societal constructs to a certain degree. That was all necessary for you to come to this point now. But now is the time for you to really learn how to speak up and not care about what other people might judge you for. For example, if you look at me, do you know how many people would just think that I'm nuts? But at the same time, as more as I opened up and the more open I was willing to be, and the that also means you're more willing to accept yourself for who you are, because there's different parts of your brain that thinks different things, different parts of your body that thinks different things. Your gut thinks differently than your heart thinks differently than your feet thinks differently. They all have neurons, they're all wired, and they all have their own separate thoughts. And then your biome in your guts all think differently. There's different species of biome that thinks differently, and it really creates this collective voice in your head. And a part of your voice thinks that you're crazy for even watching my channel or believing in aliens. And that's a part of this psychological conditioning that you've been put under. The programming of societal programming is what they intricately do is create these fictional stories around extraterrestrial in order to create this notion that extraterrestrials are fictional. That's why they create so many different, not like Star Trek and Star Wars, but just like, for example, there's cartoons and things that make fun of this idea of extraterrestriality. So a part of you is having a hard time accepting yourself, and surely that manifests as your fear of other people thinking that you're crazy. Even think about your closest friends. What will they say when you tell them about your belief systems? And of course, my advice to you would be to be mindful of their belief systems, because what you always have to remember is everybody is entitled to their own reality, to their own belief structures. And what filters their experience of reality is the first layer is your belief systems. So if people have a belief system that this is bullshit, then they have all the right in the world to create a reality like that, and that's what they will experience unless their subconscious mind doesn't agree with that. And so you can always respect the fact that people are allowed to create a reality where extraterrestrial life or these kind of spiritual concepts are ludicrous. But you have to be able to, and willing and accepting of yourself to allow that in yourself, and that will come with communicating more. I'm not sure if you want to start your own YouTube channel, your own blog, your own podcast, something that's going to help you really talk about it with yourself. Even if you don't have an audience, you want to start out even having this dialogue with yourself and clarifying what you believe, so that you will accept it within yourself. And the more and more you do this, even if you're journaling, it will come to a point where you can tap into this open communication with the deepest levels of yourself, and looking at the rest of the world with care and compassion. And even if you just accept yourself for who you are, rather than you thinking that, oh, now I have to convert everybody else's belief systems, if you truly accept your own, that's when this frequency of acceptance will spread to other people, and when they're ready, they'll be able to really take it in as well. But in the on the bottom of your deck, you have infinite abundance with Lord Ganesh, and Ganesh is actually a destroyer of obstacles. And just knowing that obstacles are not necessarily things that you have to overcome, but can also be destroyed. And this is the path of this infinite abundance that is being invoked into your life. And I see that with communication and abundance, there's an energy of the ascended master Hilarion. Actually, abundance and communication are both around that. And to me, I also associate a lot of Archangel Raphael is associated with the planet of Mercury, which is also associated with the Hermes, which is Hermes. It's not the fashion brand. Actually, it is a ascended figure. They took it from that. Little do people know. But you have an energy of Hilarion that's very much coming through clearly. And Hilarion is actually a Kohan of the Emerald Ray, who is whose life purpose has to do, first of all, with communication and the arts, and also has to do with, this is also intertwined with Archangel Gabriel. So this is a network of people that I'm just bringing up, and they're the ones that are, kind of watching over your energy. Even if you don't comprehend what the hell I'm saying, it's okay. I'm just pointing out their presence in your life. So what you want to be mindful of is that your life purpose has a lot to do with embodying this infinite abundance that is bridged together with spirituality, when before spirituality was segregated a little bit with this idea of material abundance. You're actually the bridger of that, and how you communicate to the world and how you teach other people is part of your life's purpose. And even if what you're doing currently in your life, I don't know what your career is or life purpose that you're building right now, it's okay that if it looks a little bit not in alignment with what I just said, because it's all the correct steps to getting there. You have no idea how perfect this energetic tweaking goes. Even if somebody was working at McDonald's, not that you work at McDonald's, even if somebody was working at McDonald's, there's a clear reason why they're going to be there for 3 to 6 months before they go into this next thing, because there's some pocket of energy that needs to be tweaked out. And so whatever you're doing right now is perfectly in alignment. And what I would recommend you to do is start to experiment with moonlighting, which means while you have a current path going, and if it doesn't look exactly like what you want to manifest in your life in the next year or two, then start moonlighting, which means like reflecting on that, like well, it has a lot of connotations, but you want to start taking little steps every single day to kind of shift the energetic meter towards something else. So let's say that you have, for example, a job that pays you very well, but it's not necessarily fulfilling your creative standards. By no means does the universe intend for you to create immediately. Eventually it will, but it doesn't need to create the creative satisfaction with the material satisfaction in the same channel. It can have two channels, where one where you don't get paid and you're so creative, and one where you get paid and it's not maybe as creative. So eventually, when you balance both of those out, you will naturally be folded onto a path where the two merge together, and all of a sudden it makes so much sense. Okay, so that was your Keepers of the Light cards. I'm gonna read 2 more decks, I believe. So if one thing I would recommend is for you to eventually look into remote viewing and remote influencing. It's an area of spirituality that eventually you want to look into. The teacher that I recommend is Gerard O'Donnell. And I believe that I asked you to get some tarot cards earlier. Not tarot cards, oracle cards earlier. They're not tarot cards, they're oracle cards. But that message was, I read it yesterday and it's coming up again. So I would definitely recommend you getting acquainted with the divinity through cards. There's a very strong Pleiadian energy coming through right now. And even Syrian, I would say. So for you, actually, the message from your soul that's coming through right now is, first of all, there's a lot of energy work that's going on with you, and there is constantly soul fragments of yourself from different star systems that will anchor down to your physical body once your frequency is ready for it. So that's one thing, is you're constantly being tweaked, constantly. Even if your mind doesn't comprehend how you're different energetically from day to day, especially in your sleep state, you are just getting bombarded with these new energies. So that's one thing that I want to remind you of that you're a definite star seed from various different star systems, and there are guides. Actually, you have a network of starseed energies, starseed children energies that are really supporting you and always there for you whenever you need. So that's one thing that I want to remind you. The next thing is to look into any practice of shamanism, and especially shamanic sound healing. So this is something that, you know, you can explore in ripples. It doesn't mean that you have to go visit a shaman right now, but start with YouTube channels where they have shamanic healing music, because the music healing is a big thing. And also I see a very strong connection with you and this animal realm, especially this kind of wolf dog energy, Lyran even, but just very strong connection to this wolf spirit, which comes in packs, but they're also very solitary. And this kind of wolf packs alpha is what your identity is, and you need to really embrace that. You are the master you seek, and you are the alpha of the pack. So that comes with a level of humbleness and a level of responsibilities. And you have to be comfortable with the word enlightenment, because a lot of the times the word enlightenment is very much romanticized as something that people can't get. But you have to accept that enlightenment isn't that hard to get. It's like a state of being that comes to you in different spectrums. It's I think it's mass social conditioning to make it seem like enlightenment is like impossible. It's just something that like people get when they like practice for years, but it's like, no, everyone is enlightened to a certain degree, and you have to be comfortable with giving yourself that credit that you are on a spectrum of enlightenment. So that's the message from your soul, and to really pay attention to your inner child, because I need you to kind of really visit your inner child, which is a lot of the times channeling your divine soul. And so just remember what you used to love to do, and have a communion with your inner child to do the activities that it loves to do, and have conversations with it, write it a letter, whatever it takes. Okay. Okay, so interesting. It was funny because you had this infinite abundance card. I told you that one of your main primary life's purpose is to embody this divine wealth that really transcends all the levels of wealth that we've experienced as the third dimension. It means that your wealth not only includes money, but it includes love, it includes spirituality, it includes everything in wealth that people didn't get to experience before. And by proxy, people who are becoming in their stage of evolution where they're becoming their own masters, like really true masters of their reality, they work in proxy archetypal energies. And so when you become this archetype, it enables everybody else to kind of snap into that framework. So not that you're the only person who's doing this, but you're one of the people who are designed as this archetypal energy and like this template framework where you're going to show other people energetically how to achieve this level of wealth. And this is like just one of your divine life's purposes, and how you communicate that to the world. So make sure that you have some sort of means of communication with the world. Not that you're going to have this level of audience to show people right now, but start building that communication channel so that it kind of can keep track of how you got there. That's one of the things. It's like if you start a blog, if you start a vlog, if you start a YouTube channel, if you start something, it will kind of document how you got there. And so later on, you don't have to worry about like, how did I get here all of a sudden, you know? That's one of the messages. Right now, in the recent past, I see you have come from a place of, you know, things are working out. You know that things are working out, but it's not precise enough. It's not abundant enough that you're like, it's like in the lukewarm stage where you're like, okay, my work is paying off, but it's not as much as I wanted, but it's definitely coming. Like you're actually, this is in the recent past. So it's not like, you know, it's really working out for you right now. And this magician card tells me you've definitely manifested this, but some things are just on a delay. But if you think about it right now, it's Mercury retrograde. Whenever you're watching this, it's still going to be Mercury retrograde. So just know that, yes, it's not going to all come through in this linear vision right now, but the energetics have already worked out. So you're literally, how do you call this? So it's almost like if you blow a balloon, blow into the balloon, even if, you know, let's say that what you want to see is to let it go and it just like flies across the atmosphere. And that's why you're blowing the balloon. But you're like blowing the balloon and it's like the balloon is almost full and you're like anxious that if you let it go, it's not going to start flying. Like it's an irrelevant worry. It's energetically already primed for it, and you're getting ready to like watch it fly. And yeah, so that's just one message that I have. In your near future, you have the Queen of Pentacles, which means that this abundance is such a theme for you. And you know, if it sounds too good to be true, you need to talk to the level of yourself that thinks it's too good to be true. Like, not everyone has the same desire. Like, yeah, sure, you're this wealth code in terms of wealth, but it also means that you had to go through challenges in order to become in this kind of archetype pattern. There were challenges in the physical world for you in order to be in this stage, whether that was material, whether that was just like your physical body. Just that, you know, when I'm talking about the pentacles, it's all about this physical world. So, I mean, it's something that you definitely deserve. Not only deserve, but it's destined. There's this judgment card. I mean, it is destined. Sure, it's destined. Now, in the crowning position is the Ace of Swords, so you need to act on your intuition. You have a very strong connection to your intuition, and it's going to give you things to do. Like, not things to do, but decisions to make. When you get a pull to do something that's going to make you happy, when you get like an intuition to text somebody, message somebody, or do little things that don't seem like it's going to add up to a lot, you have to take the action, because you have no idea what are going to be such shortcuts. Like, when you take a slight different decision and it leads you into a slightly different path, you have no idea how your higher self is signaling you to take that decision, because it has a higher perspective. It can see the trajectory of your energy. That's why you get, like, if you're called to eat this kind of food, like, let's say all of a sudden you're drawn to eat like a handful of dates. For you, it's like, oh, from the human perspective, it's like, oh, it's just such a random thing that I have this intuition, and you might overlook it. But how do you know what that means energetically? It could mean that when you go to the supermarket to buy the dates, it somehow puts you into a physical route that you're gonna run into something that's gonna really change your perspective, like a book in the same store that you see. Or I'm just giving you a really weird example, but it could also be that energetically when you eat those dates, the dates come from South Africa, and that energy is exactly what you needed. Like, do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, you really have to start listening to the small little guidance that your higher self gives you, and eventually it will give you bigger and bigger decisions to make that you're gonna be able to trust more, because you have practice making the small decisions. So do not underestimate the small decision. Here I see the Lovers in your self position. This is your internal alignment with your higher self, and it's eventually going to manifest as an external partner. I don't know what kind of external partner you have, but I want to highlight that as a human, you're going to definitely manifest an external partner that is perfect for your energy, even if you consciously don't think that they're a perfect match for you. Trust me, things are going to work out that they are the perfect kind of like fit for you, and it's going to manifest. But it's right now in delay until you clarify your relationship with yourself, and especially with your higher self, and then this will just snap together. In your environment, there's the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles is a very slow-moving energy, very structured. So I could see why you feel the Seven of Pentacles is kind of like this impatience, like where's all my stuff that I worked for? But it's all coming together in stages. So this is the part that you really want to pay attention to the details, and especially because it's Mercury retrograde, it makes sense that the environment is like this. So think of all the details. Think of all the nitty-gritty details. In your hopes and fears, you have the Five of Swords, which tells me you are literally at a place where you feel like you just finished a battle, like with this reality. You just finished this disgusting paradigm, and you just feel so wounded by what you went through in this life. But what I want to tell you is that there's nothing to feel like that about. Just release that emotion. Forgive everyone. A meditation that I'm going to recommend is 1 hour long. It's from Louise Hay, called Forgiveness Meditation. Make sure it's the 1 hour long version, and do that one day. And you don't have to do it more than once, but it's really going to make a difference in the way you feel about this energy. The last cards I have here is this Three of Swords, which is, you have this heartbreak coming. And I feel like this is very much projected from this state of mind that you have with the Five of Swords. It's because you have this, you're going to have to deal with this wound. So you feel, you right now, even though your future is looking amazing, you right now are going to have to deal with this heartbreak from this reality, or from the people around you, or the people from your past. This is your number one priority to deal with, is this Three of Swords, and this illusions that it's giving you. Like this illusion that it is anything outside of yourself, that this wasn't somehow meant to be, that this was somehow hindering the way that your life was supposed to go. I need you to understand that this was exactly how your life was supposed to unfold. Even if you think, oh, somebody mistreated me in the past and that's not the way I should have been treated. Yes, it is the way you should have been treated, because otherwise you wouldn't find yourself in this exact timeline. So that's one thing that I need you to understand. And also that Six of Pentacles, meaning in the future with this lover or with the people in your environment, you're going to experience an extremely just environment where everything you give is everything you will be able to receive. But you have to also remember not to be unreceptive because of the belief patternings and systems in the past that you were just giving and not receiving from others. I need you to fix that energy field so that you're open to receiving, comfortable with receiving benefits from other people, love from other people, and just trust that it's always a universal flow, rather than thinking that if somebody does something for you, if you feel like you have to immediately pay that back, that's really wrong. Well, nothing's wrong or right, but that's not the way you want to live. When somebody gives you something, you want to be grateful. Be like, thank you so much, thank you, universe. And then you have to just trust that that is naturally going to unfold in your service to the world. Instead of thinking like it's between various different people, you need to just understand that everything just comes from an infinite pool of the universe. And So that's my message for you, is to have a better boundary of giving and receiving, and have a better relationship with your giving and receiving to the universe, and have a better faith in that there's no injustice in the world. And anyone who tells you otherwise can go fuck themselves. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your connection. I look forward to hearing from you in the future. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I will talk to you or connect with you energetically. Bye.